Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing great today. I appreciate those of you watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. And today we'll be talking about this South Korean series called Twinkling Watermelon. This came out last year sometime. I was going to watch it last year, but I was watching other South Korean movies, TV shows at the same time. So I was like, I'll just wait for all of the episodes to come out and then I'll watch it. And then I waited like a whole year before I watched it. I'm kind of glad I did though, because I ended up watching 16 episodes in 2 days. And each episode's like an hour. So, I really went right through them. It was like, once I started, I could not finish this series. So I'm going to highly recommend this one. So let's get into this. Let's talk about Twinkling Watermelon. First off, this is really influenced by Back to the Future. Like everything you find in Back to the Future is in this series. If there was going to do a remake of Back to the Future or a retelling of Back to the Future, this is the way to do it right here. So you have a young man who, the first 2 episodes, you really get to understand our male lead here, his family, his parents. Actually, he has two parents and a brother, and they all are deaf and they can't speak, so they all know sign language. So you do got this commentary about how society views people who can't hear. Sometimes they view them as being dumb or not very intelligent. So that might be over there in South Korea, but you also get that here in America as well. Just give you a comparison between the 2 countries. Especially when I was younger, that was kind of like one of the things, like people who couldn't talk were sometimes viewed as less intelligent than people who could speak and hear and stuff like that. So you kind of get that aspect in here. And then there's some of the difficulties that people who has to do sign language that they might have in communicating with those around them. There's a few times where they have to talk to the police because of they just have to talk to the police, so they gotta call somebody to be their interpreter. Even though their son, he can speak and he can hear, and for the most part he does that. But there's times where he has other appointments that can't help him out. So it kind of gives you that aspect of what difficulties it might be for those that can't speak, who has to use sign language to communicate with those around them. Also, with our female lead, when he goes back in time, his mother, you see how she's discriminated against her family, how she's looked down upon from her father. He doesn't want her to be able to do sign language because he thinks, I don't know why I'm doing this, because I don't even think that's the thing for sign language. Anyways, I'm just moving my hands. Anyways, he doesn't want her to learn sign language. He expects her to be able to hear and read people's lips and then speak. And she can't make sound because she doesn't know what sounds are supposed to come out of her mouth. But anyways, he thinks that it will bring the family down. He runs his business of selling instruments, and he just believes that that might hurt his business and his company if they find out his daughter isn't able to speak. So she's not permitted as a kid to do sign language and stuff like that until our male lead goes back in time. He convinces him, I guess I'm giving away a little bit of a plot point here, but convinces him that she needs to be able to communicate and that it will help her, stuff like that. So you do got a little commentary about the lives of people who are deaf and can't hear and has to use their hands to communicate. So the first 2 episodes, like I was saying, kind of establishes our male lead. He gets in a fight with his parents, and magically he gets transported back to the year 1995, which means his parents are about the same age as me. And anyways, he learns the whole argument that he had with his parents, like Marty McFly a little bit. He's in a band. I don't think his parents were against him being in a band though, but he's in a band and they want him to go to college. They expect him to become a doctor, and that's just not where his heart is. And they're kind of upset with him because they didn't tell him they was in a band. So and then another part was heavily influenced by Back to the Future. And you kind of see a little bit of influence with the movie Mr. Destiny with James Belushi. So it's not like he gets a car that goes back in time. He has this guy who transports him back to the year 1995. And there, he gets to see his parents as the same age as him. just like Martin McFly and how they were and how they were different. At that time period, his dad was able to speak and to hear, which surprised him because he thought his dad was always deaf, but he didn't realize that at one time his dad could hear, could speak, and stuff like that, which was one of the arguments, the last arguments he had before he left. Kind of hit his dad below the belt with the argument in the head about how he couldn't explain how he felt because his dad can't hear. So he goes back in time, sees his parents, finds out that his dad could talk, finds out that his dad's first love wasn't his mother, like they kind of lied to him. And when he goes back, his dad has a crush on another girl, which brings us the female lead here. She's also, and this is kind of where it differentiates from Back to the Future. Our female lead is also from the future. She goes back in time because she's having an argument and a hard time with her parents. So she kind of gets to see what her mother's life was when she was a kid. And the female lead is kind of suicidal, just because her mom has so much control over her and trying to tell her what to do. So another aspect of this movie is about expectations that parents have on their children and how sometimes that pressure can be too much for their children and it could be a little bit too controlling. My thought about on parents teaching their kids, I think parents should give them goals, should kind of push them along in the right directions, but you have to find the right balance to directing your kids in the right direction, helping them achieve goals, helping them be successful in their lives, but not overbearing. I think that's important for parents. And so in this one, you have these kids who are feeling too much pressure, feel like they got too much burden on them. And our female lead, she decides, she looks just like her mother. I should say this first, just like her mother was when she was that age. And she decides that the best way for her to die, because she's suicidal, is to have her mom fall in love with to marry her first love. That way that she can't be born. That's not what she wants to die. And so she's kind of struggling between who is her mother's first love. Is it our male lead's father is her first love? Or is it the male lead himself? Because she doesn't know he's from the future. So she's trying to hook up with one of those two people. And she's able to do this because her mother left to go overseas, to study overseas. And then she returns like a day after her mother left. Still see a big flaw here. I mean, even if she was able to get these guys to fall in love with her, she is not her mother. And her mother, never did return back to Korea for like many years later. That's a little flaw in her plan. I'm bringing that out right now. But then the other aspect that this has, Back to the Future, is like, you got the music aspect as well. The dad is in a band, and our male lead, he's like a lead guitarist, and so he gets to make music with his father. He gets to build that relationship with him that he never had in the future and I don't know, it's just a great well told story. A lot of these time traveling stories do have like some problems. They break some of the time traveling laws, and stuff like that, and it don't make sense parts. But this one, for the most part, because it mostly stays in the past, it doesn't. You don't really get into the conflict of going back and forth from future to past and stuff like that. However, episode 2, I did have hard times following the story a little bit because it was showing some scenes were from his father's from 1995 and his father's childhood, and then some scenes were from 2023. And the TV show, the series doesn't really make clear at times which time period you are in. And so I can get a little confusing because things are happening. Both of them have masks and stuff like that on. Sorry. And so you don't know who it is or what's happening in this time period or what happened in another time period. But that can be a little confusing. But after episode 3, that goes away because everything happens in 1995. Let's see, looking at my notes here, what else is there really to talk about? That's about it, really. But it's a fantastic series. Like, once you get started, you won't want to stop. I don't know, if I was watching it live, it would be like waiting week to week for 2 episodes would have been pretty torturous. But I did enjoy this. I think you'll enjoy this. I'm going to highly recommend this one. It does get slow in parts, but only for a few minutes, you know. Maybe a half an episode or like, oh, come on, can we move on? But it's just enough to keep you going, to keep your inches high. So yeah, so I'll recommend this Twinkling Watermelon. I thought it could be like a better title, but you'll understand why they named it Twinkling Watermelon as you watch the series. The ending could have been a little longer, a little bit more fleshed out. I would like to see more of the female leads, what her life was after she returned. You know, we get to see the male lead. Did he do things right? Is his life better when he comes back to the present, or is it worse? You know, that's for you to decide when you watch it. Anyways, have a great day. Oh, you can find this on Viki. That's where I watched it. Anyways, hope you enjoy this. Nobody's here at 11 minutes, but if you are, thank you. If you already seen this, leave some comments below. Have a great day, and bye.